Hello, my name is Timothy Curls and I'm a student at Nash Community College, and today I'd like to talk to you about social penetration theory. Social penetration theory is an important part of all of our lives, and whether you realize it or not, you've experienced the effect of it at some point in your life. According to social penetration theory, as a relationship develops, conversations move from being more shallow, basically small talk, to being more personal and intimate. This is because as a relationship moves forward, trust is established, and the individuals in the relationship feel safe being more vulnerable with each other. Social penetration theory applies to all types of relationships. It states that individuals are far more likely to reveal information about themselves when the perceived rewards of revealing that information outweighs the potential costs. But you may be wondering why you should care and what value social penetration theory can bring to your life. Well, I have some statistics to share with you. According to a survey of more than 20,000 U.S. adults conducted by the global health service company Cigna, nearly half of Americans report sometimes or always feeling alone or left out. 2 in 5 Americans sometimes or always feel that their relationships are not meaningful and that they are isolated from others. 1 in 5 report they rarely or never feel close to people. And adults from the ages 18 to 22 are reported to be the loneliest generation, according to the survey. It's very possible that you might fall into one or more of these categories, or know someone who does. If so, then understanding the mechanisms behind social penetration theory could potentially help you form more bonds with people, and stronger bonds. Social penetration theory is broken into 4 stages. The first stage is called the orientation stage. At this point in the relationship, conversation is restricted and usually only includes superficial topics. Individuals will play it safe and only act and talk about topics which are socially appropriate. After some preliminary trust has been established, the relationship moves into the second stage, which is called the exploratory affective stage. The conversation will start to move beyond superficial topics as individuals start opening up to one another. Individuals will let their personality show and reveal some of their personal preferences, but will still generally stick to the confines of what's socially acceptable. Many relationships never progress beyond this point. People who share similar personalities and interests are much more likely to share more sensitive and intimate information with each other, and thus enter the third stage, known as the affective stage. At this point in the relationship, individuals feel comfortable enough around each other to let their guard down and really open up. This stage is critical because clashing personal ideals and values can cause conflict in the relationship. And being that vulnerable with another person comes with the risk of being rejected or ridiculed. However, if the relationship survives, it will become very strong and enter into the final stage, the stable stage. At this stage, both individuals are completely open and honest with each other. And due to their high degree of trust and comfort with each other, individuals in this stage will freely share information about their core personalities and their deep feelings they don't share with just anybody else. Social penetration theory can also help to explain how one makes their moral and ethical choices. An individual's core personality will inform their values and how they view moral issues. The closer a value is to an individual's core personality, the less likely they will be to transgress it. However, a reward-cost equation can factor into their decision. If the reward for committing a perceived transgression is greater than the cost of the person's guilt and their fear of being caught, then a person's core personality might shift to accommodate the action. This can happen by their core values becoming less important to them, or by a change in definition of what constitutes a transgression of their value. Over time, this can cause a person's ethical standards to break down. This will have an influence over how we interact and are perceived by others. In recent years, the internet and social media has had an increasingly larger influence over the standard model of social penetration theory. One study looking at the influence of Twitter on social penetration theory found that Twitter acted like a sort of filter for adults to sort out who they would be socially compatible with and that they might potentially want to become friends with in the real world. Online interaction can mimic the first 2 stages of social penetration theory with significantly less risk than if one were to meet for the first time in person. Another study looked at what factors contributed to an individual's willingness to discuss information about themselves online. The study surveyed 272 participants and found that people who are more socially intimate are more likely to reveal information about themselves online. This may be because that the friends they have in the real world overlap with the friends they have on social media, and the trust they generated in the real world carries over to social media. It also found that loneliness was positively correlated with one's willingness to share information about themselves online. According to the study, those with very little social penetration use social media as a way to vent and compensate for their lack of friends in the real world. Social penetration theory isn't perfect. It can't predict how every relationship will progress. Humans are complicated creatures, and the elaborate social bonds and networks we form are even more so. However, it can give you a general model of the trends they typically follow. Due to the reports of widespread loneliness and isolation, I think understanding how social penetration theory works has never been more important. If this interests you, I encourage you to stay curious and to do more research. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.